This is a presentation prepared by Claude Erbsen of the Innovation-Mediaconsulting Group in New York, read by Kathlyn Clore of the European Journalism Center. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you this morning, and I have the distinct feeling that what I'm about to say falls under the category of preaching to the already converted. For all of you here, innovation is clearly the name of the game. And for my colleagues and myself, innovation is our first name, as well as our reason for being. The very name of the organization to which I belong, the Innovation Media Consulting Group, leaves little doubt about the way we look at things and what we try to do with and for our clients, and in conjunction with our friends at the World Association of Newspapers and the World Editors Forum, our host this morning, for the newspaper industry as a whole, through the publication of the annual report on innovations in newspapers. The 9th volume of this series was published in conjunction with the annual Congress of the WAN and the WEF in Cape Town, South Africa in June, and I am here to share some of its findings with you. And at the end of this session, we will be distributing copies. In our report, we tried to focus on innovative developments, best practices, if you will, in the newspaper industry around the world, an industry which, until not too long ago, has not been known for its nimbleness or its willingness to adopt drastic changes. In fact, journalists, despite our obsession with what's new, have sometimes been compared to mules and supertankers, stubborn and hard to turn around. But that's changing fast, and change is in the air throughout the industry, and there is a hunger to absorb and, yes, copy those changes and innovations that seem to work. Successful media companies are turning themselves into what innovation calls information engines. No longer can anyone be content with smearing petrochemical derivatives on dead trees once a day. Today, a multi-platform approach is critical, and the customer must be served around the clock in ways that serve her needs, or her terms, at times of her choice, and not those of publishers tied to a production schedule and truck delivery routes. Readers are no longer just readers. They have become an audience, consumers of information in the broadest sense of the word, and ultimately members of communities of interest that coalesce around common interests and interact with each other. If newspapers can provide the forum where this happens, they will remain an integral part of their customers' lives. If not, well, let's not even go down that road. It's not pretty. I was not able to be here on Wednesday, but I suspect this concept of community was thoroughly covered by Evgeny Morozov. So I will just offer one example from the case studies in the 2007 report. The Warsaw newspaper, Gazeta Wyborcza, has created a huge interactive online community catering to the needs of Poland's immigrants, as well as their stay-at-home friends and relatives. How did it start? With a broad, let us say traditional, look at Polish immigration in the print edition, supplemented and supported by expanding concentric circles of extensive multimedia efforts that have gone way beyond anything that could have been accomplished in a print-only format, in the way we've always done it. Newspapers are facing major strategic decisions, and that includes a fresh look at how they should present themselves. They are looking at new formats. Traditional broadsheets are giving way to tabloids, compacts, and Berliners. Pages are shrinking. Even the Wall Street Journal did it earlier this year, and the New York Times is doing it later this summer. Traditional, stodgy layouts are giving way to sparkling new designs, and in the lead article in our report, 3 experienced innovation consultants discuss when, how, and indeed whether a newspaper should be redesigned, what's involved, and what it means. Their conclusions: you should expect nothing if management views redesign as simply a minor cosmetic update. A simple facelift is useless. Real change must include changes in editorial approach, newsroom workflow, and the adoption of multiple platforms. Redesigning a newspaper means re-energizing the staff and strengthening internal leadership within a company. The staff has to buy into the process. Understanding of audience needs is essential to a successful redesign, and indeed any change process. The change process advocated by innovation is illustrated by these slides. The next couple of slides, much easier to look at, show the results of 2 recent redesign efforts by Innovation, part of what was essentially a full-scale relaunch of old-style publications. Expresso is a weekly newspaper in Portugal. This is a Greek daily. Both relaunches resulted in immediate, substantial, and even more importantly, lasting circulation gains. Interactivity has become the holy grail of all online media, and a whole new kind of journalism, citizen journalism, is springing up, abetted by technology, supplementing traditional forms of news coverage. One of the most dramatically successful innovations we highlight in the report is the work of Straits Times' STOMP project in Singapore, a multimedia approach that weaves together the newspaper, its website, and an army of cell phone and camera-toting readers who have vastly extended the newspaper's reach. STOMP, or Straits Times Online, Mobile, and Print, showcases citizen journalism at its best, not the aimless ranting of bloggers in pajamas, but citizens spotlighting things that need fixing, like broken bus stairs or long lines at public health clinics, or providing on-the-spot coverage of accidents or other events where journalists are not present, including one case in which a lover's quarrel at a metro station ended up with the female member of the couple on the tracks, a dramatic scene captured by a STOMP contributor on his cell phone camera and used both online and in print. The project has been so successful that Stompers, as they call themselves, have created offline and online clubs.
STOMP was actually an idea initiated by the editor of the Straits Times. What he did was he appointed a study group led by me to look into how the Straits Times, a print newspaper, can engage its readers online. And what we did was we traveled overseas to several countries in Europe and Asia to look at ideas, and we came back with this concept of a social networking user-generated website. I think this is the first such project launched by a newspaper in the world. STOMP works very closely with the print newspaper, and in fact a STOMP editor is present every day at the critical morning conference where the day's menu of stories is decided. And that's where the STOMP editor recommends photographs or news items sent in by people to the website for use in the print newspaper. This flow through to the print occurs almost every day. And throughout the day, there is interaction between print and STOMP people on what is happening within Singapore.
The citizens of Singapore form the very heart of STOMP. We rely very much on user-generated material, so whatever they can give us, photographs, videos, SMSs, opinions, it all goes into STOMP, and if not for the user-generated material, there really would be no STOMP.
I think the evolution of STOMP has been rather phenomenal. It has now about 8 million hits a month, and within a year, I think this is quite an achievement. It has evolved into a community of users who are really, who have really bonded together, and they are not only interacting with each other online, but they are also interacting with each other offline in organizing their own activities, and they are proud to be called Stompers, and this is the term they themselves coined for their own, for themselves, for people with the same interests.
The journalists and the citizens have a very active synergy going on. Within the Straits Times newsroom, the supervisors of the various desks have access to what we call the Straits Times Gateway. This is where all the SMSs, the MMSs come in. So, the photographs that we get, the videos, the opinions that we get come in through this gateway, and the journalists all have a chance, really, through their supervisors, to look at the opinions and some of the news strips that are coming in. And these come in very, very quickly, and it gives them an idea, gives them a chance, really, to respond very quickly to what's happening. For instance, with regard to a very interesting story on polyclinics, these are government clinics which many people in Singapore go to. We had found out through a contributor that people, especially the elderly, were turning up as early as 5 a.m. to queue up at many of these polyclinics so that they would first go